Going live. We're not live yet.
Now we
we're
are live. Hello.
That's right, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all niggas should have never gave us money. We asked for $1. We asked for $2. We asked for $3. And don't worry, nobody's actually here on the stream yet. They're just starting to file in. We asked for $1, $2, $3, and it turns out those dollars added up because now we have a extremely swanky setup. We're using StreamYard and it is dope as hell. Kennedy may be on. We're hoping. We're in contact. But instead, you've got the OG3, which is me, Leia, and Lau. We're here. We're chopping it up.
Totally. And we said this when we thought we were live, but we actually weren't. We have, no matter what platform you're on, we're collating all of the comments into a central computer core.
That's
and
right.
We can see all the comments from all the platforms. Rabbit Bunnies, this is so sick. Like just now, we'll read out your comments if they're interesting. This is sick.
This is sick.
We are simulcasting on
YouTube,
sick.
This
Twitter,
so
Twitch.
YouTube, yes. Twitter, yes. Twitch, yes. We might do Facebook at a later time. They got to catch up and be there with the rest of us.
Yeah.
But so we've got it's 5 o'clock. We're probably gonna stream for half an hour to an hour. We're just gonna rock. We're just gonna let it go where it goes.
We're just riffing on it.
We're just vibing.
We're just riffing.
Yeah.
So I guess we can talk. Do you want me to bring this stuff up? We're talking about last notes because Leia, you weren't here for this whole Biden drama.
Sure.
If you're not voting for Biden, you ain't black. Leia.
Oh God, I did hear about that.
Yo, Leia, infamously, you ain't black. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, it's not
lucky
good.
you, right? You don't have to be caught.
Good, folks. It's not good, folks. And I think, yeah, as usual in American politics, worse than the actual thing itself, or the people reacting to it and affirming it, and people being like, "You ain't. If you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't queer." It's like,
yes, the people that boosted this shit. This is.
And there are people, there are white people that are like, "Oh, I'm a person of color now because I'm voting for Joe Biden."
You remember that tweet that had the talking about how Hillary was an honorary black woman?
Oh my gosh.
Definitely the same energy.
Need support in 2022 against Chuck C in the future. Gray party for New York. Yeah, definitely.
Gray, I know you're in New York, obviously, and I know you're running against Chuck. Are you Green Party? Are you Progressive? What's your deal?
Yeah, what's going on?
Because let me tell you, this is a show that will entertain almost any crank. We don't. If you're about to go free ponies, we'll be like, all right.
We send an email to John McAfee.
That's true.
And if he gets back to us, we're having him on the show.
Oh yeah, we'll take anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the reactions are way worse. Just the pure amount of standing for this dude is just kind of sickening. The black community, we've got to beat Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And a year ago, I didn't understand. Well, I understood. I didn't understand the depths of how thoroughly cucked these people were. But they're thoroughly and deeply cucked. They're a thoroughly and deeply cucked group of people. So I don't have the fucking answers for that. He did apologize. He said he was being a wise ass and too cavalier, which is basically, he did describe his offense pretty spot on. These people aren't voting for you because they're members of the fucking Joe Biden fan club. They're voting for you because they're in fucking distress and are desperate.
Yeah.
They're need somebody to fucking lift the boot off their neck. It's not like they fucking love you personally. So don't.
They're just we'll just go for this guy.
Yeah, I guarantee you that Joe Biden brings to the table exactly 0 people that a candidate that isn't Joe Biden. There's nothing specifically about Joe Biden.
No. And we can look at history. We can look at John Kerry. We can look at Al Gore. All of them got like 93% of black people. Like, it's not like there's something fucking special about you, buddy. Obama got up to like 96. Like, he got up like it's very hard to get a statistical bump from 90%. Obama got it. So there was something special about Barack in terms of his connection to the black community, but all these other folks, like, they don't love you like that. No. You know, they love you like they love Paul Pierce. You know, you're just here. Congratulations.
Damn.
Like, it's fine. So when we talked about, you know, when he did this interview with Charlemagne, the whole thing that stirred up that discussion was like he was talking about what Charlemagne wanted in exchange for his vote. Like, what is the community getting in exchange for the vote? So, and Biden, I don't know if he grasped that was the focus of the question. And so instead, he was just like, well, it's me versus Trump, and you've got to vote. But like, and I feel like this is maybe like one of the Achilles heels of the entire rationale of the Joe Biden world. You got to give people some shit to vote for. You have to give them something that they want to affirmatively support. So, like, if you're a black person, like, what are you getting out of a Biden administration that's not even like, we can even split hairs of, well, what is Bernie Sanders giving to black people? It's a bunch of universal policies. Do they, you know, help black people specifically? What counts as specific? What counts as help? But we had a whole thing of Joe Biden's platform that Simone Sanders sent to Ice Cube and was like, well, this is what Joe Biden's doing for black people. And none of it was like, it was like tax grants. It was like some Kamala Harris neo-lib shit. So like, I can obviously talk about like black community needs. I got like some non-black people here. What are the specific needs of your community? And is the Democratic Party meeting those specific needs? Either of y'all can chime in here.
Well, as a trans person, you know, kind of the baseline is, you know, respect our right to exist, which Joe Biden kind of does, I guess, or at least his policy platform does. Sure. Another thing is, hey, Medicare for all would make it significantly easier to have me live in a body that I'm more comfortable with, much more comfortable with, which would improve my quality of life in immeasurable ways. So, as I have said before, a lot of these issues are really tied together. You know, Medicare for all is very much a trans issue because I'm poor as shit. And I don't think that whatever the fuck Joe Biden is going to do with tax credits and Obamacare and Medicaid and all of these moving little tiny cogs, I don't think that's going to translate to me being able to get hormones or GCS if I ended up wanting it any faster than right now. In terms of material concerns, Joe Biden is about doing the bare minimum.
Lau, I'm going to ask the same question to you because we don't talk about what do Californians need? What do Christians need right now? No.
Well, I think it's just interesting for me, I guess as an Asian person, because I think the strategy for Joe Biden is to, like, especially with his rhetoric about China, it seems like what he's trying to aim for is he's trying to aim for like getting Donald Trump on being tough on China, which, you know, I'm kind of ambivalent about. I guess like you know, the political and economic plans of China, but you know, specifically for like Asian American people, I think this would be a concern if you have a Democratic nominee who's using this kind of like I guess like anti-Chinese nation rhetoric. to advance like his position, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious that like that I think anti-Asian American sentiment has grown in the past couple of months due to the pandemic.
Statistically, incidents of hate crimes are increasing. We've seen this.
Yeah. So, for example, I think a couple of weeks ago, there was an Asian American lady who got acid thrown on her face, right?
Jesus. Yeah, I remember that.
So, the response from like Joe Biden to be tough on China, I don't think it really addresses the needs of and concerns about Asian Americans with respect to the whole discourse we're having about China, right? And I think that's a really worrying situation, at least for me and a bunch of other Asian American folks who I guess are kind of scapegoated for this whole pandemic situation. And I don't think the rhetoric really addresses that. So I think there needs to be something more substantial from the Biden administration, from the Democrats in general, about what they're going to do about Asian American discrimination and prejudice in the future.
Yeah.
It's kind of a because the Asian American number is a lower number. Everybody seems completely content shitting on you. Like it's like, hey, listen, this isn't gonna like get my ass beat at the ballot box.
Yeah.
So there's no, and that kind of like shaming effect that works with certain white people, like, you know, oh, black people are being abused. That also doesn't work. Like y'all are very stuck. Y'all are extremely stuck. Not as much economically, although like when we talk about like Asian is like a large chunk of the world, so it's so diverse that it's hard to like, oh yeah, Asians are doing well economically. Like yeah. Some Chinese people are doing well economically. When was the last time you talked to a Hmong immigrant or like a Vietnamese immigrant?
Exactly.
Like it's totally different fucking worlds. And I know some Vietnamese folks that's in the hood like anybody.
I'm very scared for a lot of my friends who are Asian American about the kinds of racism and discrimination that they're already facing and are going to face if this sort of thing with China begins to accelerate and gain steam.
Yeah. And I know
there are a lot of people that seem to think that the thing we should take away from the coronavirus is that we hate China. And that translates into Chinese people, and that translates into Asian people. And
I mean,
it's
like
not good, folks.
It's really interesting how like I mean, I guess like this whole discrimination thing just is really based on like on a very superficial level. Like it's based on like how you look. So even though you're not Chinese, right, which I guess the rhetoric is about, right? It's about what China has done and what the Chinese authorities have done with respect to coronavirus. You see a bunch of people who aren't Chinese but are nonetheless Asian Americans being attacked. And that's the kind of conundrum that we're in, is that even though you're not Chinese, you're still Asian American, and so you're still a target of this discrimination, right? And so I think that's more of the worry, right?
We've got a comment on Twitch. Large the Dude says there's actually a Guardian Angels group in Chinatown here in New York for protecting against racism and racist violence in the community. I feel like that's like
awesome.
Asian Antifa. They're like on the mask and they're like, all right, don't fuck around out here, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. During the civil rights movement, concurrently with the Black Power movement, there was a lot of yellow power
Yeah.
movements and collaboration between the Asian American and African American communities.
Mhm.
And it looks like, a lot of those kind of things are going to need to be resuscitated, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and
We
I
can
think
definitely-
this kind of goes to a point about I guess like what solidarity looks like between Asian Americans and like say Black progressives, right? Because there is a lot of like anti-Black sentiment within like more conservative Asian American groups, and so I think one potential way out of this is to seek solidarity with a lot of Black progressive groups who are calling out against injustices of just basically what's going on here.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely feel like inside the Black community, there's like a vibe of, oh, you guys are being discriminated against. Welcome back. Like it feels like y'all we were talking about like anti-Black sentiment in Asian communities. I don't think it's to the same degree, but there's like a certain amount of anti-immigrant or anti-Asian sentiment in the Black community. But it's more rooted in those people don't give a shit about you. Don't fuck with them because they're assholes. Definitely. So when this kind of merged out, it's kind of a reminder that like being white or being an honorary white person, they can just take that shit away from you over anything at any time. It's just a mess. And we were talking about Charlemagne earlier, and like what was he asking for? Well, he was asking for like Black policies. And when we talk about like Black policies, in most senses, like in most times, they're like economic. Like the racial wealth gap is probably the number one thing that's on the mind of Black communities. Although like healthcare is a big part of that. Student loan debt is also a big part of that. Because you have a lot of upwardly mobile people in the Black community now. It's been like 20, 30 years. And a lot of those people are like women that are like putting on debt and going to college and they're coming out. And of course, there's no fucking job market at all, right? So they're broke as hell. They're swarmed in debt. They're completely flooded. It's no good. So given that it's not just Medicare for all, it's not just student loans, all that stuff is good. And it's stuff that Bernie Sanders supported, and that's great. But it's also like cash reparations. I mean, there's like an actual cash infusion that needs to take place into that community, because not just like for shit that happened like 100 years ago, but for shit that happened like 20 years ago, and employment discrimination that's happening right now. And it just means that if some shit fucks up, you don't have like your parents to like, oh man, if things fall through, I'll feel bad because I have to go back to my mom and dad and they'll take care of me, but I'll feel bad about it. Like that's not no option. And if you're talking to like, I don't know how much y'all are hanging out with older Black folks, but it's like when you turn 18, you got to get the fuck out of here. I can't afford to pay for and like white people don't act like that towards their kids, but it's not like they're fucking morally upright. It's like they don't have to. Like they're not in that kind of financial strait where like, I have to spend one more day taking care of my child. Fuck, I'm gonna be ruined. I can't deal with this no more. And definitely like, even if it's not a fucking reparation program, supporting an investigation of that would be not bad. Doing loans and things for business people in the community would be not bad. The college, Biden's college thing is fine for certain groups of Black folks, I suppose. Like if you're making under 100, like that's fine. But it would be great to have just even a page worth of policies that are specifically targeted at those communities. But look, you couldn't get it from Kamala Harris. You couldn't get it from Bernie Sanders, who supposedly represented the most progressive platform in the history of America. So that was like, if you can't get it there, where the fuck are you going to get it? Probably not from Diamond Joe. Let me tell you. So, do y'all have any more thoughts on Joe Biden and his ability to deliver anything for anyone besides embarrassment and retweet?
Joe Biden is not. You know his mental state. He's not going to be pushing for anything himself. So it's gonna be a bunch of Beltway advisors that are pushing him on what's feasible and what's reasonable and what's not. So yeah,
And that same group of advisors is going to get him stuck with Amy. So
yeah.
I don't know if they're.
I think
a smart
I
group.
think politicians rarely achieve their entire platform, and especially politicians like Joe Biden. So it's going to be walked back, and even the meager compromises that we see in Joe Biden's platform are not going to be accomplished. And it's just we're getting nothing. We're getting nothing.
Lau, can you pull up the Mitch McConnell story?
Yeah. Let me see how.
Because we gotta talk about that a little bit. After Leia laid it down in such a comprehensive way.
Give me a moment. I'm still learning how to do stuff.
Yeah, it's okay.
COVID-19. Mitch McConnell's push for coronavirus immunity.
That's
I think
correct.
this is it.
Yeah,
Okay,
bring that up. Let's chat about that. So this guy, we have to call him a guy. Let's just I don't know what to call him.
Yeah.
He's one of the big things that they're doing is they want to make sure that the businesses don't get sued for making you work during the coronavirus times and get your ass sick and die. And they want to make sure that there's no wrongful death lawsuits for pushing employers out during those times. And
Yeah.
Lau, if you want to cut in and read a relevant part of the article, that's cool too.
Yeah, I can talk about at least this paragraph, which states that a recent report surveying workers' access to personal protective equipment found that fewer than half of employees in big box and department stores had access to gloves, and just 15% had access to masks. The corporations that dominate these sectors can easily afford to ensure adequate worker and consumer safety. They're investing in lobbying efforts to avoid accountability instead. So I think this question about, how much accountability do these corporations have for their workers, especially in this kind of time, right?
It's because they know that people that you're gonna die if you go out there. They can say whatever they want, on the press conference and at the thing. But if you think that it's actually safe and if you think this shit's a hoax, to all of the three Republicans that are watching this shit and they're like, man, this virus is all made up. Man, do you think they're working on immunity for a made up virus? Use your fucking thinking brain here. Use your thinking brain. So they know that you're gonna go and get your ass sick and it's gonna fuck you up. But the thing is, they want to make sure that they're shielded from the economic consequences of those decisions. Because it's so obvious that it's just gonna fuck you up in court. So I don't know what actions are being planned to prevent this. Maybe it's just something that can't pass through the Senate. I have no idea what the odds are of that kind of legislation passing.
Mm-hmm.
But filibuster, it's going to be one of those days, and that means we're going to have to go and vote the Democrats. And hopefully, this time, Patty Murray won't fall asleep, Bernie Sanders won't be at home, whatever they got to do. And this is a very basic employees' rights kind of deal. You would think it's bread and butter Democrat shit, but you never know. People always find new ways to disappoint you. Are you surprised that surveillance bill passed the Senate?
No, I mean, I think it came at a really opportune time for the Senate, just because we're just dealing with all of this fucking COVID shit. I think this is a really good time to get a VPN. If you don't know what a VPN is, you can. We should get sponsored by NordVPN or something.
By NordVPN for all of your.
I come back and I see we're on the sponsored segment.
Yeah,
we're chilling all day.
Listen,
if the patrons don't come through, then NordVPN's got to come through. It's got to happen.
So
Leia, we were just talking, and
we were talking about the fact that the FBI
Leia, we were
can
just
see
saying
my look at my browser history and see how much Bible Hub stuff I have.
Oh man.
So yeah, we just want to talk. Are you surprised that the FBI knows you're a furry? Like, are you surprised that it got like that, or
I feel like
so black-pilled that you don't? You're like, yeah.
during the times when I have an inflated ego, I think with pride that the FBI has at least a 1 to 2 page file on me, but I don't think I'm significant enough of a person for that to actually happen. It would be cool if the FBI knew I was a furry, because yeah, that would be cool. But you know, I don't buy it. There are more important online leftists to harass.
But the more important you are, the less important you are. Like, you think the FBI has like a file on Amber? Like, it's impossible. Like, that's who's really dangerous. Like, who in our public discourse is genuinely dangerous?
That's a good point.
Yeah. So who has oxygen and is known to the public that is a person where, like, wow, if this person gets people behind him, it's fucking over. I don't think that applies to fucking Bernie Sanders, fucking AOC. Like, it's just all polite people going like, this should be less bad. It doesn't, they're the Democrats on Twitter. It doesn't have to be this bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this bad, by the way. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on Mitch McConnell there? And we can move on. It's okay.
Mitch is bad. Does bad things.
While
surprising that he wants to protect businesses from the consequences of their own actions. Very unsurprising.
So
isn't there
go ahead.
Isn't there someone who's running against Mitch McConnell?
There is.
Do you know anything about that?
I think his name is Booker, Charles Booker, and he's a Kentucky person, and he's a black dude. He's running. There's also Amy McGrath, who's like a jet pilot, and like, Mitch McConnell. He's not.
Amy McGrath is Amy McGrath is like a Doug Jones, I think.
Yes. Yeah, she's definitely running as a Doug Jones Democrat. Mm-hmm. Just right wing and feckless and inoffensive. Booker is not like running to storm the Bastille or anything, but
he's just like kind of a progressive.
Right, he's a Medicare guy, whatever, fine. And Kentucky also does like tend to vote for healthcare because their health situation is goddamn terrible.
Yeah.
Oh God, you missed. Oh, these are
fuck Amy McGrath. She criticized McConnell from the right. She said he was blocking Trump's efforts to give everyone health care.
I'm gonna hit this one because that's a good title. She criticized McConnell from the right. LMFAO. Well said. Well said.
Yeah, well put.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add about Amy. She sucks. Charles Booker, however, is Charles fucking Booker. And that's at least marginally better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if Charles Booker is a lobbyist for Wells Fargo? Because Jamie Harrison is, and not good.
No, not a good look, folks.
Got excited for Jamie Harrison. We got somebody running against Lindsey Graham. Turns out he's just a total Democratic Party apparatchik, which sucks.
It does.
He's running basically as Cal Cunningham. It's not good. So can we talk about the race war?
Totally. Let's do it.
There's a guy in North Carolina who's married to the founder of or the chair of Reopen America in North Carolina, and he's ready for race war. Pull that up if you got a second. He's on his webcam, he's on the Facebook, and just talking about how boy, I don't want violence, but I feel like
it might come down to this. This might be the time. There you go.
They've all got some fucking Red Dawn fantasies, and if you if you want to read a paragraph or two from that, that's cool too. Yeah, the leader.
Guy looks like either a dentist or a real estate agent, but a shitty one.
He's posting from his car.
Yeah,
he's posting from his car. Like
the only worse you could get if he was wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, we can run this guy for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We can run like a minute of him, and
Right.
we'll move on. Is it
cringe?
We actually can't hear him, but this
we can fill in the gaps. Loud,
yes.
Loud can say what he's saying.
Loud, just tell us what he's saying.
He's talking about culture.
Yeah.
He's talking about a line that needs to be drawn, and that we've crossed it. By the way, this video is like 17 minutes long, so so you know he's ready.
Oh man,
that's not
he's got the whole manifesto in the works.
He's ready for a posting war. I don't know if he's ready for a race war.
Yeah, let me read these two paragraphs here because it's straight from the man himself.
Sure.
Right.
So
get into it.
We're taking up arms. It's time for us to fight against this. We're not going to stop. If you want to go to the full force time, we have the forces to retaliate. And that's really, at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to secure our freedom is our willingness to step up and fight. Do we want to pick up arms? Do we want to kill anybody? Of course not. Nobody wants to take lives. We don't want to kill anybody, but are we willing to kill people? Are we willing to lay our lives down? We have to say yes. Is that violence? Is that terrorism? No, it's not terrorism.
I mean, it seems
it literally is violence. Like you're killing people.
Let's hear the rest. I read it, but go ahead, keep going.
Yeah.
So that our readers can be informed.
It's not terrorism. I'm not trying to strike fear in the hearts of people by saying, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to say, if you bring force, we're going to bring force. If you bring guns, we're going to bring guns. If you're armed with this, we'll be armed with this. So
it's very Malcolm X, the rhetoric. Here's my thing though, like no one's killing, like no one in his community is being killed. So nobody's come with the guns to murder.
He's saying this in just he's saying this as if there are people that are like armed and going around saying we're gonna kill white people.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And the thing that's probably gonna produce is people being like, if a lot of people are like this, some minority communities are gonna be like, well shit, we gotta arm ourselves because these people are fucking crazy. And then the white people are gonna be like, well see, they're arming themselves. This is what we're talking about. This is why we're right. It's brain moments.
And first of all, who are the people that will be enforcing an order like this? It's like cops. It's just literally the police. Like it won't be like your weird Red Dawn fantasy. It won't be the libs. It'll just be like a cop that's doing their job. Now, I mean, you want to go have it out with the police because they want you to stay inside. That seems a little bit. That seems like a little bit much. But also, like this person is rich. It's really important to note that. The guy's got a couple companies, whatever. He's like a small business guy. You know how those people are. So it's not like he's going to get sick. When this order goes through, he's going to stay inside. Just like when we talked about fucking Mitch McConnell, setting up the liability insurance and shit. That's because they know that it's real. And this guy doesn't believe that it's a hoax. He believes that this shit is real and wants to make sure that he's getting paid. Loud, you want to read his wife's statement? Because I see you've pulled it up. Do you want to read some of it? Take your time.
Yeah. So I think this is a little bit interesting. Let's see. This is an admin. I guess this is the wife of the person who made the video.
Yeah.
So my husband is a veteran and was a U.S. Marine. He swore to uphold the Constitution. He is now under attack by the liberal media, no doubt, at the direction of Roy Cooper and on Memorial Day weekend. All of this is a shameful attempt to keep us from gathering tomorrow to honor our fallen heroes as the press has held onto the story all weekend. So you definitely get this sense that he's trying to justify this on the basis of the fact that he was a Marine, that he has this sort of military tradition that he has in order to defend our freedom. And I don't know. What do you think about all of this? I mean, because it is Memorial Day. And it seems like being a U.S. Marine and being a veteran is really important to securing and fighting for our freedoms. But does this necessarily mean we're going to start a race war? I don't know.
As a troop, I would just like to kick off our next national conflict that destroys us totally as a country and an institution.
Yeah.
Very odd. Don't get it. Not my deal. So it is a little bit weird that we're jacking off the troops so much. This guy is just openly like, he danced around it kind of well. It was just like, I'm not saying that I'll do a terrorism. I'm just saying that
they could make me do a terrorism.
you could make me do a terrorism for sure.
No, if they do a terrorism to me, then I'm going to do a terrorism.
Yeah. But yeah, he's got no skin in the game. I know that like on the left, maybe that becomes the ultimate argument. How bad is this shit for you personally? But it's an effective argument just because so many people have nothing on the line. For these small business kings, these small business tyrants, they got fucking nothing at stake here. It's just like a hobby. Like he wants to go fishing. He wants to like run his business. He wants like other people to get sick. No, you weren't here we did an episode of Lots of Guys Have Podcasts. And the first episode has a guy who's like a manager. And they were talking about managing people through COVID. And like, we've got to motivate the team, push them out, get them strong and ready. Look at the look on your fucking face, Leia. I swear to God. But
Video ads.
You can watch the Velocity Asker.
Absolutely. So it just adds a lot.
A manager podcast.
Or you can watch
They were grilling. It was a grill pill podcast. And they were grilling and sending people out to get corona'd, which is not great.
Gosh.
Great. Yeah. So, I guess we should talk a little bit about Facebook because that's like the last thing on our agenda today.
Let me bring up that article.
Facebook's gotta pay money, baby. It's not enough because they still exist, but every little bit counts. This is some wealth redistribution, and the reason why the wealth is being redistributed is kind of funny. It's kind of intriguing. So this is $52 million to the moderators at Facebook that have to look through all the sick shit y'all are posting every day.
Yeah.
It's really gross. I mean, there's gore. What's the grossest thing y'all have seen on Facebook? Leia,
all
right, Leia, what's the grossest thing you've seen on social media?
I think it'd violate TOS of one of the websites we're streaming on.
We can't even describe what it is. That's pretty bad.
I can say that the grossest thing I've seen on Facebook is that there was a human being, and then at some point in the video, that human being just became a bunch of parts.
Yo, yeah, I've seen some shit like that. I've definitely seen the comments on Facebook.
And you have to think about the fact that these moderators aren't just looking at like a broad range of content, right? Like these people report the stuff. So, most of the time it's going to be negative, very graphic or very explicit things that they're going to have to look through, right?
Yeah.
And
They're not just
at the end
browsers.
of the day, they're gonna have to go. They're gonna have to go eat dinner after working as a moderator, right? So it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a lot of emotional labor on the part of these moderators. And not to mention the fact, if you read this headline, each worker will get $1,000 more if they were diagnosed with a disorder as a result of the material they viewed. So we're talking about things like post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, right? Depression. And I just think a part of it has to do with the fact that we're living in an age that's more interconnected, that's more, I guess, interconnected socially. And so one of the consequences of that is that you need a base of moderators to make sure that the content that's being put out is actually valid, right? And that's a lot of that's a lot to deal with, and especially if you're getting a mental disorder out of this, that's kind of wild to think about.
You're getting your ass beat on social media. You're getting just the worst of the worst. As Rabbit Bunny says, people post fucking CP on Facebook. These are people just sitting and looking at gore and CP and vile shit all day. Thank God they're getting this settlement. And really, like $1,000, when you think about it, $1,000 is really not enough to do that job.
No.
I mean, obviously we're getting it, but like $1,000 settlement is not really enough. Like if you think of like PTSD, and all of us have got a little PTSD just living life. Would you take it? Would you trade in $1,000 to get rid of your fucking mental trauma and the shit you saw that fucked you up? Yeah, absolutely. You ain't even gotta ask. Like you already know what's up. So yeah, it's wild.
I did remember reading an article about those Facebook moderators a while back, and yeah, not good conditions. I remember every day they have like 5 minutes of break time that they can use if things get too much, and that's 5 minutes over the course of an 8-hour day of seeing the most vile shit that people can put out. And there's impossible standards to meet when it comes to reviewing the content quickly, reviewing the content accurately, applying to the standards that are always changing, and it's just insane. And these people deserve so much more money.
Yeah.
And also, oh God. Yeah, also like it's not a lot of money. It's actually not that much. You'll be sitting there and you'll still feel like shit. Like, so when we talk about like every little positive bit helps. So like somebody's like trying to pay their rent, they live in California, and the Trump bucks probably wasn't enough to cut it. Their PTSD bucks will hopefully push them over the top and give them enough to get like a good job somewhere that doesn't just turn their life into shit. So, every little bit helps.
Just to read a little bit more from the article. So a 2019 report from The Verge found that workers were paid as little as $28,800 per year, watching thousands of videos every day. So that's not.
I'd like to quickly interrupt. We've got Neocon Atheist on Twitter. Their avatar is Pennywise or the Joker, one of those. And they have a very good question. What the fuck is this? Well, first of all, what the fuck is this? It's a live stream. We're here. We're talking about the news. Other question from Neocon Atheist. Who is the girl?
That's me. Hi. I'm Malaya. I host this podcast sometimes.
L. Yeah, that's us. LOL.
LOL indeed.
Yeah.
It's good to see you here after like a month of getting high and vibing.
Yeah.
You're now vibing and getting takes.
Yes. Yeah, we love it. We love it.
So,
what else
America,
do we have on the agenda?
that was literally, we've covered the whole agenda actually. So, I mean, we've done not quite an hour. We've done like 40, 49 minutes. So, do y'all have anything impromptu? Do y'all want to talk about Doja Cat? I don't know what the other discourse is. Not really. Okay, well, this can
I
be
mean, we
like,
can talk about whatever we want to talk about.
They're more likely to contract it.
yeah, if y'all would like to vibe for 10 minutes, it's fine. By the way, we should never say that we don't know what we're
I thi-
talking about. It's killing our views. Like, the viewers are like, we're out of here. They're
Yeah.
done.
They
They like
don't
that
know what we're
tight-
talking about? No. They
Yeah.
want
All right.
structure.
Yeah. All right. So what else? All right. We're vibing for the next 10 minutes. Taking questions and vibing. All right.
For sure.
Yeah, totally.
Alright.
We just need to make another social media platform for leftists or something.
Yeah, we should.
That already
something.
exists.
I
It's
don't know.
Mastodon, and it sucks.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it sucks. I'm not on it. But, it's
Mastodon,
There's
Matrix.
a lot of content platforms made kind of sort of for leftists, and the problem is that nobody uses them, and there's 70 of them. And then one person's like, "Oh, what if we made a new one?
Yeah.
What if I made a leftist platform for social media, and then we just have 71 that nobody uses?" It's the typical problem.
That's also the problem with third parties. They're like, we need a
Yeah.
third party that unites everyone. And it's like,
Speaking
no,
of third parties, I tortured myself 2 days ago. It was 1 or 2 days. I don't remember. But the Libertarian Party had their convention online, and it was the most boring fucking thing ever. It was held on Zoom. It was held on a Zoom meeting with every single member of the Libertarian Party's committees and national shit and whatever. And it was just the worst. I hated it. They kept having problems with technology, like they were trying to do balloting for who gets to be their presidential nominee, and it took Virginia 2 hours to get 2 more hours than all the other states to get their votes in. It was an unadulterated train wreck.
Oh, I got to see Guillaume.
And they ended up nominating Joe Jorgensen, who's just
can we
like,
talk about that?
Yeah, totally. Let's talk about it.
Jacob Hornberger was the presumptive nominee going into the convention, right?
He won like 15 contests, and he had twice the votes of the second most vote getter, which was Joe Jorgensen. Like twice the fucking votes.
I thought
Jorgensen
Vermin
ends up being.
did Vermin have the second most? It was Joe.
No, it was close. It was close. It was by like a few hundred votes that Vermin got in third.
Okay.
But yeah, and the main difference between Joe Jorgensen and Jacob Hornberger is Jacob Hornberger is an insane minarchist anarcho-capitalist, and Joe Jorgensen is just like a libertarian Republican, and they've tried to run those people before.
Like
They
a-
ran
like a-
Gary Johnson.
Like a Gary Johnson type. Got
Yeah,
it.
like the main difference, and I was looking through their websites.
Trying to say, "Join my right
Jacob
side."
Hornberger wants to abolish Social Security, and Joe Jorgensen wants an opt-out program. Like that's
Okay.
that's kind of the difference we're talking.
These are the kinds of things that libertarians like to talk about. Good shit.
And Joe Jorgensen has started her campaign off with some brilliant ones, like trying to repurpose "I'm with her" to be about
Yeah, I
her.
saw that. Like, and it got all the Hillary people mad at her.
Yeah,
You'll
making-
never be our queen. All
You
right.
will never be. And then
internet was
making
better when
JoJo's
websites
bizarre
were
adventure jokes about herself.
Yeah.
It's just
Obviously,
weird. She wants the meme power of Vermin Supreme, but she clearly doesn't have it.
she obviously hired some kid that met Vermin once and was
Yeah.
just like, perfect. To be fair, Leia, if you had 30 minutes and Joe Jorgensen's on the line, I need meme power immediately. I need all the meme power at your disposal. And you've got like 20 minutes to like whip something up.
Yeah.
Aren't you going for like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure meme?
I guess so, but I think you'd have to do something fundamental with the campaign to structure it around something funny, like Vermin Supreme did. Vermin Supreme was a joke, and his campaign was a joke. And that was That was exactly it. Because no matter what happens, the Libertarian Party will always be a joke. And what Vermin Supreme was trying to do was change the punchline. It's not just making jokes, it's being in on the joke that's already there, that's already being made. So it's something more fundamental than posting a meme on your Twitter. It's how you approach being a candidate.
Yes, but I don't think Jo Jorgensen is going to become like the Lulz candidate.
Yeah, of
She's
course.
an extremely old woman. She has a very boring platform. There's nothing that like. It reminds me a lot of when Gary Johnson, when the frog memes on the unicycle were big back 4 years ago, and so someone did Gary on the unicycle. Here come that Gary, but it's not connected to anything. It's just fucking words. It's just like, oh, I recognize the meme.
Thank you, Rabbit Bunnies.
Leia, you're 100% fucking as always. Congratulations.
But the libertarians have tried to run insane anarcho-capitalists. They have tried to run Republican lights. Neither of them have worked. Gary Johnson got a hell of a lot of his votes from New Mexico, where he was governor before. And if Ken was here, he could tell us, or they could tell us more about that, but they're not, so whatever.
I mean,
But Jo Jorgensen is not going to clear 1.5%. Most likely not going to clear
Like Heroes of
1%.
the Storm doesn't exist anymore.
It's
How would
just,
you ever play
no,
that?
you're not capable of doing that. You don't have
No.
anything drawing people to you.
There's nobody that's on the fence that's going to vote for Jo Jorgensen because of her professional demeanor. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's buying into civility politics, which is
Vermin
really
Supreme. Vermin Supreme literally would have gotten more votes as a Harambe protest vote than Jo Jorgensen will get as the legitimate libertarian candidate.
Because no matter how legitimate you are, no matter how much you explain your stances and be a grounded candidate, they will always make fun of you. If they don't make fun of you personally, they'll make fun of your party. They'll make fun of the party of licenses for toasters, and they'll make fun of the party of selling heroin to 9-year-olds.
Everyone else is grounded as a human.
You
huh?
cannot
Not like a
escape
giant monkey that
the
has
Libertarian
a
Party.
taser.
You cannot escape how much of a fucking joke it is, no matter what you do. You just can't.
So let's talk about this, and this might be our last topic. Is it just like that in every institution? Because like the Democrats kind of did the same thing. They blew the institution up rather than let an outsider like take it over. And I feel like the Libertarians, to not the same degree, but they kind of blew it up a little bit rather than let Vermin Supreme just and his merry band of memers take over the party. Is that just what political parties are like, and is that just how it's got to be?
I think it's just a consequence of the Libertarian Party is a joke, as I've said before. And the only people that would serve in an official capacity on it are the dumbest, most dupable people on planet Earth that really, really, really believe that the Libertarian Party isn't a joke. Because if you realize that it was a joke and you were serious about politics, you would leave the party and you would become like a Bill Weld, somebody in the Republican Party.
Samuel is another game.
I think it's just the consequence of the people that would be serving in positions of power in the Libertarian Party are the true believers, and the true believers just don't tolerate that.
Okay, so Leia, you've said yours. I'm going to cut you over to Lau. Lau, do you have any thoughts on what the Libertarians are doing?
No, I'm just kind of curious about the future of the Libertarian Party post Vermin Supreme.
They're just going to flounder as they have always floundered. That's what they're going to do.
Okay. Well,
nothing noteworthy is going to happen.
Nothing will fundamentally change. That's our slogan. That's our ending. So listen, if you're watching this, goddamn, God bless you. We're doing a lot of really good shit. Obviously, I think this is one of our coolest presentations we've ever done. It's just very. Yeah. Don't you feel like you're moving up a little bit?
I love it. Like
I feel like I leveled up.
Call us.
Yeah, like this kind of reminds me of when we had a Street Fight on. It was like, wow, we're really making it. We're official. So this is another we're official kind of moment, and it looks good. It feels good. It is good. Another step on our road to credibility. And if you'd like to join us on that road, patreon.com/notsafe. If you've got a little entertainment kicking it with us, then by all means, check that out. Give us like $1 a month, like $5. If you have a job, you've got it. God bless you. Make it happen. And we won't like sit up here and hang out with you for too long. It's been real. And you can also watch the rebroadcast if you got halfway through. It's all fun. And there's a new episode of the podcast out today with Mariam Ahmad. So Mariam Ahmad, visit NSF Wonks on Twitter. You can also go to nsfwonks.podbean.com, and it'll take you to like all of our episodes. They're basically like all this good, which is wild. So for Leia and Lau, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Say bye, y'all.
Goodbye. It's been wonderful.
Limit break, so I'm gonna limit break.